Indianapolis Colts versus Baltimore Ravens. The Indianapolis Colts, 0-0, 0-0 ATS, 0-0 OU, clash with the Baltimore Ravens, 0-0, 0-0 ATS, 0-0 OU in the preseason opener on Thursday evening, and the Colts went 8-9 last season. The Ravens won the AFC North last year and lost in the AFC Divisional Playoff. These squads last met in 2023 in a game the Colts won 23-19. The Indianapolis Colts enter a new season with optimism. They had a busy offseason and are desperate to end their playoff drought. They have not reached the playoffs since the 2020 season. There are some question marks at quarterback, and some answers could develop throughout the preseason. Management made big splashes in the offseason, adding pieces to the defense. The Colts quarterback situation has a bit of intrigue this season. Anthony Richardson is considered the #1 option entering the season. However, Daniel Jones was signed in the offseason. Richardson has talent, but consistency has been an issue. The 23-year-old recorded an 8-12-1 TD to INT ratio last year. Daniel Jones was a major disappointment under center, with the Giants spanning 2019 to 2024. The 28-year-old recorded 2,070 passing yards with an 8-7 TD to INT ratio last season. Riley Leonard is the Colts' #3 quarterback and should see reps. The rookie was drafted out of Notre Dame. Jason Bean is the #4 quarterback. The running game is a strength led by Jonathan Taylor, who is not expected to play. They have a big threat at backup running back in Khalil Herbert. DJ Giddens is a rookie drafted in the 5th round. He should see playing time in this game. Tyler Goodson is last on the RB depth chart. The receiving core is mediocre after #1 wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. Receivers Alec Pierce and Josh Downs enjoyed breakout seasons last year. The Colts' defense should improve this season after ranking 29th in yards conceded per game last season. They have a new defensive coordinator in Lou Anarumo. The Colts signed Caravarius Ward to a huge $54 million contract in the offseason. The 29-year-old CB did not make an interception last year. They also added safety Cam Bynum to a big contract of $60 million. Bynum will help the secondary. He played for the Vikings last season. Last season, Indianapolis averaged 22.2 points per game, ranking them 16th. The Colts squandered an average of 25.1 points, placing them 24th. The Baltimore Ravens are considered Super Bowl contenders once again. Last season, they were eliminated by the Bills in the AFC Divisional Playoff, a tough loss that has only fueled their motivation heading into this year. The Ravens made some huge additions in the offseason, adding to a superb roster that offers plenty of depth and talent on both sides of the ball. Their front office remained aggressive, bringing in proven veterans while continuing to develop their young core. Expectations are sky high once again, with head coach John Harbaugh maintaining a strong culture of accountability and competitiveness. Notably, Justin Tucker, who is considered one of the best kickers in history, is no longer on the roster, which marks a major transition for special teams. His consistency and clutch ability will be missed, and the Ravens will need to find a reliable replacement to handle kicking duties. Still, with elite talent at key positions and a defense that's projected to be among the league's best, Baltimore remains a dangerous team with championship aspirations. Lamar Jackson is the most dynamic quarterback in the NFL, capable of changing the game with both his arm and legs. Don't expect to see the mobile QB in this one, as the Ravens typically rest their franchise players during preseason matchups. The backup quarterback is Cooper Rush. The 31-year-old started games for Dallas last season and proved to be a steady hand under center. He posted 1,844 passing yards with a 12-5 touchdown to interception ratio, showcasing smart decision-making and poise under pressure. Rush has experience leading a team and could see extended time here to sharpen his timing with the second-string offense. The #3 quarterback on the chart is Devin Leary, a rookie out of Kentucky. He did not see any action in the regular season in 2024, but showed flashes of potential in camp. Leary has a strong arm and good mobility, and the preseason offers him a great opportunity to showcase his skills and make a case for a future backup role. Expect both QBs to play with purpose and keep the Ravens' offense humming. The running game is also stacked, led by star Derrick Henry, who will only play a few series at most. In the preseason, to preserve his legs for the regular season grind, the number 2 running back is Justice Hill. The 27-year-old registered 228 rushing yards last season and is a versatile back who contributes on passing downs as well. Keaton Mitchell could see plenty of action in this one. He has issued 426 rushing yards in his 2 NFL seasons and offers explosive speed that can test second and third string defenses. Baltimore has a solid receiving core led by Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Flowers piled on 1,059 receiving yards last year and is expected to be a focal point in the offense again. Bateman, a first-round pick in 2021, has battled injuries but remains a key target with big play potential. They added DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason. The veteran brought in 600-plus yards last season with Tennessee despite inconsistent quarterback play. Hopkins' route running and experience make him a valuable addition, even if he only gets limited snaps during the preseason. The Ravens' defense was exposed at times last year, but is expected to improve. They spent their first 4 draft picks on defensive players, signaling a clear focus on bolstering that side of the ball. Malaki Starks is getting rave reviews in training camp. The first-round pick is expected to start at safety this season and bring a much-needed spark to the secondary with his range and instincts. Marlon Humphrey is key in the secondary and will benefit from a stronger supporting cast. The Ravens signed experienced cornerback Jair Alexander, which helps a secondary that was shaky last season. Alexander was a key defensive player for the Packers over the past few years, known for his ability to shut down opposing number 1 receivers. His presence should allow the Ravens to play more aggressive schemes and bring added confidence to their defensive backfield. Baltimore scored an average of 30.1 points in 2024, good for third. The Ravens kept opponents to 21.2 points, positioning them 8th. The Indianapolis Colts are going to take some time to gel. They have a new defensive coordinator this season, which means adjustments in scheme, terminology, and player responsibilities, especially for a young team still finding its identity. The Baltimore Ravens, on the other hand, play to win in the preseason. They recently had a winning streak of 24 consecutive games in preseason play, the longest in history, and a testament to their organizational focus on preparation and depth. Coach John Harbaugh is 45-16 in his NFL preseason career, and his teams consistently show discipline and execution, even with backups on the field. With veteran leadership and a winning culture that extends to August, Baltimore has a clear advantage. Furthermore, the Colts' backup quarterback is Daniel Jones, who has experience, but the number 3 quarterback, Riley Leonard, is a rookie drafted in the 5th round. While Leonard has intriguing athleticism and long-term upside, he's still raw and adjusting to the speed of the pro game, which could result in mistakes if he sees second-half reps. The Ravens simply have more depth at most positions. Ravens backup quarterback Cooper Rush is expected to see extended playing time. Rush is a solid option. He is sporting a 20-10 TD to INT ratio in his career. He started several games last year for Dallas and posted a 3-2 record in the last 5 games of last season. He brings a steady presence under center, rarely forces throws, and excels at managing the game, traits that are especially valuable in the preseason, where mistakes by young defenders can be exploited. With Rush under center and a deeper supporting cast around him, Baltimore should have the edge in late-game execution. I expect a barrage of scoring. Daniel Jones is battling for the number 1 quarterback job for Indianapolis and should be motivated. Colts coach Shane Steichen has stated Richardson and Jones will play in this preseason opener as they battle for the number 1 spot. While Jones has been shaky in his NFL career, he is up against several backups in this one, especially in the second half. With extra motivation to prove he belongs and a chance to carve out a role in Steichen's offense, Jones should take more aggressive shots downfield than he typically would in a regular season setting. Preseason defenses often rotate heavily and lack cohesion, which could give him easier reads and more open windows. Combine that with Steichen's history of letting his quarterbacks push the pace, and this game has the ingredients for a high-scoring affair, especially as depth charts thin out late in the contest. Cooper Rush is a reliable veteran who can manage the offense well, especially in key situations. With the Colts adjusting to a new defensive coordinator after last season's struggles, uncertainty remains on that side of the ball. The Colts' pass defense was among the worst in the NFL, conceding an average of 226 yards per game, placing them 26th. Unless their secondary shows immediate improvement, they could be vulnerable against a quarterback who protects the ball and capitalizes on defensive miscommunications. The over is 5-0 in the Ravens' last 5 Thursday games, and that trend could continue if both teams capitalize on mismatches in a potentially high-scoring preseason matchup. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Baltimore Ravens plus 4.5. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Cincinnati Bengals versus Philadelphia Eagles. As the NFL offseason fades in the rearview mirror, the opening week of the 2025 preseason brings up an interconference matchup when the Cincinnati Bengals battle the Philadelphia Eagles in the City of Brotherly Love Thursday night, and Cincinnati closed the 2024 regular season with 5 straight wins to finish 9-8, but ended up missing the playoffs for the second straight season. Philadelphia went 14-3 in the regular season last year and steamrolled their way to the Lombardi Trophy as they beat the Chiefs 40-22 in Super Bowl 59. In the all-time regular season series between the teams, the Bengals own a 9-4-2 advantage, but the Eagles rolled to a 37-17 road win in the most recent matchup, October 27, 2024. Cincinnati was hot at the end of the regular season, but their slow start to the year left them on the outside, looking in for the postseason with a 9-8 mark. The Bengals hope they can avoid a repeat of last season's 1-4 start, which put them in a hole, including a season-opening defeat at the hands of the Patriots. Cincinnati has some pieces that have to be replaced if they hope to have success. The Bengals have issues on the offensive line, much as they did a season ago. They lost Trent Brown and Alex Kappa from last year's group and have to figure out who will man the guard spots. They also released Zach Moss, who was their starting running back last season, while Mike Hilton and Von Bell are gone from the secondary. Defensively, the ongoing issue with Trey Hendrickson holding in, as he wants a contract extension, could impact the Bengals defensively. That doesn't even cover that Al Golden takes over as defensive coordinator after Lou Anarumo was let go after last season. The Bengals have an explosive offense once again, at least on paper, though if the defense sputters as it did last year, it will be another middle-of-the-road year. Joe Burrow, who led the league with 4,918 passing yards and 43 touchdown passes against 9 picks, is back to run the offense. Jake Browning is still number 2 on the depth chart, while Desmond Ridder and Peyton Thorne will battle for the third QB role. Chase Brown, who ran for 990 yards plus 7 scores while adding 54 catches for 360 yards and 4 more scores, is the number 1 running back. Expect Samaje Perine in another tour of duty with the franchise. Taj Brooks and Gary Brightwell get snaps to try and earn a spot in the running back room. We know the starters in the receiver, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Andre Iosivas, along with tight end, Mike Gesicki, though other guys have to step up and earn spots. Jermaine Burton, Charlie Jones, Isaiah Williams, Kendrick Pryor, Cole Burgess and Mitchell Tinsley look to make a splash. Coach Zach Taylor announced that his starters will see several possessions in this contest, with a bigger workload next week against Washington. On the injury front, tight end Eric Ali Jr., knee, is slated to miss the entire campaign. Guard Lucas Patrick, leg, cornerback Marco Wilson, undisclosed, and defensive end Cedric Johnson, calf, are each listed as questionable. Taylor said Tuesday that Gesicki, Hendrickson, defensive tackle B.J. Hill, along with defensive backs, Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill all will not play in this contest. Philadelphia had a big season as they rolled to the NFC East crown before downing Green Bay, the Rams, and Washington in the NFC playoffs before battering Kansas City in Super Bowl 59, in a game that wasn't as close as the final score may have indicated. The Eagles now look to defend their title, but they'll have to replace some key contributors, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Milton Williams, Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, Garrett Bradbury, and Isaiah Rodgers all are gone from last season's unit. While there is plenty of talent in Vic Fangio's defense, the depth did take a bit of a hit, and we'll see how the younger guys like Jihad Campbell, Nolan Smith, and Jalix Hunt, among others, fare with more playing time. The Eagles were 7th in the league in scoring offense, as they averaged 27.2 points per game last season. Jalen Hurts runs the offense after hitting 248 of 361 passes for 2,903 yards with 18 touchdowns and 5 picks. He added 630 yards and 14 scores on the ground. The rest of the depth chart is a jumble, so look for a lot of Tanner McKee, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and rookie Kyle McCord as they try to make a name for themselves. Don't expect a ton of Saquon Barkley, who had a massive workload last season with 348 carries for 2,005 yards plus 13 scores on the ground, while adding 33 catches. He then carried the ball 91 times for 499 yards plus 5 scores, and added 13 catches in the postseason. Will Shipley, 4 carries, 77 yards, touchdown, and A.J. Dillon are next in line. The receiver group is headlined by A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Guys like Terrace Marshall Jr., Johnny Wilson, Aeneas Smith, Elijah Cooks, Avery Williams, and Giles Jackson all have an opportunity to make an impact. Coach Nick Sirianni has not made it clear as to how much, if at all, the starters will play, so watch for updates closer to kickoff. Last season, the Bengals saw the overpost an 11-6 mark in their 17 regular season games. In preseason action last season, Cincinnati stayed under the number in 2 of their 3 games, failing to score more than 14 points in any of those contests. Over the last 3 preseasons, the Bengals have gone over the number in 5 of their 9 contests. Philadelphia saw the under go 10-7 in their 17 regular season tilts before going over in 3 of their 4 postseason games. All 3 of the Eagles' preseason games fell under the number last season, reversing a trend that saw the over go 7-1-1 over the previous 3 preseasons, with the Bengals firing their starters on offense while still having a porous defense. The Eagles enter this preseason matchup as the defending Super Bowl champions, but it's unlikely that they'll treat this game with the same intensity or urgency that propelled them through last year's playoff run. With a deep roster and expectations of another extended postseason push in 2025, Philadelphia is taking a cautious approach in training camp, prioritizing health over reps. That strategy became even more evident after recent injury setbacks, including the concussion suffered by edge rusher Nolan Smith during Monday's practice. While his absence isn't necessarily long-term, the team has no reason to take unnecessary risks with key rotational defenders during an exhibition game. Additionally, star wide receiver A.J. Brown is managing a hamstring injury, another reminder that the Eagles will be in no hurry to put frontline players on the field before the regular season begins. Nick Sirianni has shown throughout his tenure that he uses the preseason sparingly, often resting starters and opting to evaluate depth players instead. That conservative approach has reflected in his preseason record, which sits at just 3-7, and has often resulted in slow, low-scoring games from the Eagles' side during August. On the other hand, the Cincinnati Bengals are signaling a shift in their preseason philosophy. After back-to-back seasons, where they've struggled to find rhythm early in the regular season, often starting slow offensively and needing several weeks to hit their stride, head coach Zach Taylor is looking to address that by giving his starters more run in the first 2 preseason games. This includes likely snaps for quarterback Joe Burrow, who has dealt with early season inconsistencies and minor injuries in previous years, along with valuable game action for wideouts Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The Bengals want to establish timing and chemistry now, rather than ramp up in Week 3 of the regular season when games actually count. That change in mentality could give Cincinnati a serious edge in this contest, especially if Philadelphia opts to roll out a second or third string lineup. Taylor has acknowledged the need to generate rhythm and reduce offensive rust in September, and a solid showing in the preseason opener is step 1 in that plan. Despite Taylor's underwhelming 3-12 preseason coaching record, this context makes the Bengals' approach significantly different this time around. The focus will be on establishing tempo, testing their upgraded offensive line against live competition, and giving young defenders a chance to prove they can contribute early in the season. With contract extensions and future roster decisions looming, this is a critical evaluation window for Cincinnati, and they're treating it accordingly. On the flip side, Sirianni and the Eagles are in a completely different place as a franchise. With their core largely intact and most of their depth chart set, their preseason priorities lean more toward injury prevention and bottom-of-the-roster evaluations. There's also a situational factor that shouldn't be overlooked: motivation. Teams that lost early in the playoffs or underperformed last season often come into the preseason looking to set a tone. The Bengals, who fell short of their postseason goals in 2024, are exactly that kind of team. Young Bengals like Jermaine Burton and Dejon Anthony will bring urgency as they fight for roster spots, likely outplaying Philly's second and third units. The line move towards Cincinnati reflects bettors picking up on this edge. Despite the line move, Cincinnati holds the edge in this preseason opener, with starters expected to play and Philly taking a cautious approach amid injury concerns. The Bengals look like the sharper side. In a game where effort matters, Cincinnati's seriousness could show on the scoreboard. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Cincinnati Bengals -6.5. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.